Don't play footsies with me.
You try to
Move
play
your
footsies with
big
me.
feet. I'm kidding.
I'm insecure about my big feet.
At least you're not like Peggy Hill. She has like size 16 feet.
Hey, Peggy Hill, what big feet you have? Like boat.
I don't know who that is. Is that from King of the Hill? Peggy?
My headphones are backwards. I was like, wait.
You're just a mess.
I know. I was late today.
What?
It was I.
You were late?
Okay.
I mean, I was going to be probably like, when you texted me, I was like, okay, I could put my clothes on now and leave the house and be there. But I hadn't done my eyeshadow, so it was going to be a less put together me.
Yeah, I was thinking your makeup looked really good.
Thank you. I had
Got
some extra time.
Got a little.
I do.
Yeah.
I sharpened my eyeliner pencil that I use.
That makes a difference.
It does. I didn't think. Apparently, I hadn't sharpened it in a while because I was like, well, it's just hard to like stick in your waterline when it's so blunt. So I was like, well, let me just sharpen it real quick because I haven't been forever. And then I did, and it came out much darker and like stays on.
See,
and
I haven't used like a pencil in a long time. I always use like the retractable pens.
she only uses. My sister, who's 12, does a mean wing. She's been practicing like with her liquid liner.
Mhm.
She does it perfect. Like her wings are like on point. Like they're equal to your wings with how easy you do yours too. Like
Listen, it's
she's
a
gotten
skill.
lots of compliments on her wings. And she's like, don't I just look great? And I'm like, calm down, you're 12.
You're like, shut the fuck up.
I need you to not have this much self-confidence.
You're
at
like,
12.
can you do my eyeliner?
And we're live.
So as we were going, I was like, are we just gonna not?
Oh no.
Your A's out. God damn it.
Oh, what the?
Jesus. What did you,
Everybody stop.
what did you do?
It's
on the fritz. Oh. Okay.
all right. Sometimes you just gotta off on, and then
Tell it if it'll work or blow out.
Yep. I
One or the
forgot to
other.
change my words too. That's
What-
okay.
What do they say?
And a happy new year.
I mean, it's still January. And a Happy New Year part 2.
How long are you allowed to say happy new year after
Or
the
New
New Year?
Year's.
New Year's.
I don't know.
See, you said I never see people say New Year's, and I'm like, I hear and see it written out all the time.
I believe you. And honestly, there's a solid chance that I have said it multiple times, never realized it, or heard people, and I just don't really absorb it or even think about what they're saying.
You're like, because nobody cares.
It's not that nobody. It's just that me, half the time, I'm just on autopilot.
Mm.
Like, how do I put this? Do you ever just realize you've been on autopilot all day, then all of a sudden you regain consciousness and you're like, where the fuck am I at? And how the fuck did I get here?
I don't do all day, but I definitely, if I've got a lot going on, like in my mind, like thinking about work stuff or all the things I have to do or coming up with ideas or whatever, then yeah, that especially when I'm driving and I don't turn like music on or podcast or anything. If I just drive in silence, then like it's like suddenly I transported from home to work or work to home, and I don't know how I got there. And I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
were all the lights green?
No, seriously.
Did I break any laws?
Seriously. Like, the most impressive part, this happened to me the other day. I was driving and I was definitely just on autopilot. And then all of a sudden, this guy in front of me like slams on brakes, but like very slammed on brakes. So like at first I was like, oh, he's going to slam on brakes and then turn in real quick. No, he like slammed on brakes more than I was anticipating. But my autopilot brain was like, oh shit. And like we really hit
It's
the
like,
brakes.
Wait, pay attention.
And we jolted awake, and I was like, damn, my autopilot on point.
Yeah.
Like, she had it handled. But then I was like, oh, you should probably not be on autopilot anymore.
But like that's
But it's not on
also
purpose.
it's also like when you think about it, really think about it, how powerful the human brain is. That driving, because at this point in our lives, we've been driving for over 10 years. And it becomes, a lot of it is muscle memory, but it's also like your peripheral vision, and it's also like your peripheral vision and just your brain absorbing all the sensory input. But because you've done it so often, your brain has been trained. It can do it in the background now. It's literally like a background process. It's like Spotify playing on your computer while you're doing other stuff. And that allows you to then think about and, all these other different things. And then because that sensory input is so strong, even though it's going on in the background, that as soon as it's like, there's a problem, you're immediately like you respond to it. It's almost like you respond and then you are brought back into focus and are like, oh wait, there's a problem.
That's what it would be like to drive a Tesla, probably.
Mm.
It would respond faster than any of your reaction
Have
time.
you seen all these problems happening with Teslas recently?
No.
Oh no, yeah. So there was one where a Tesla was driving on autopilot on like the interstate or freeway or something. It was probably like 3 or 4 lanes of traffic, and it's in the farthest lane on the left side, and it's just driving, and then all of a sudden immediately just slams on brakes, and it was an 8 or 9 car pileup. Yeah, that they all like crashed into each other, and I don't think, from what I read, I don't think anyone died, but a couple people went to the hospital, including like a little kid. At least one little kid who was like, I think 6 is what it said.
Is this God's way of saying stop it right now?
Maybe.
Stop it now.
But like that's the thing. But see, when you think about it, like what's the difference really between a human making an error driving a car versus a computer malfunctioning? Or, you know, something going wrong with a self-driving car? Is there really, like, what's the difference? Like, a mistake still happened, you know? Somebody still got hurt.
Well, I guess I would just think that, like, the malfunction is, like, there's no, like you said, it just randomly slams on brakes, like, for no apparent reason whatsoever. I'm not saying humans don't do that, but then, like, that driver in that car, if they would have been driving, probably wouldn't have done that. Now, that being said, the Tesla also can react so much faster than us that they might not rear end somebody when we would. So really it just kind of depends, I suppose. But yeah, I don't know.
I'd be interested to see the statistics on comparing like when cars that are in like autopilot mode and how often they get into accidents versus like just regular human cars or regular human cars. Humans driving cars.
Regular human cars. But it freaks me out to think, though, that, like, I got in an accident because my car made me get in an accident versus, like, something I did. There's just something more scary about that to me.
But, I mean, your car can malfunction at any time.
Oh, yeah,
without
it still can.
You know, I've had it happen where I've been driving on the interstate and one of my spark plugs went out and I'm in the middle lane going, you know, 75, 80 miles an hour. And then all of a sudden my car just, like, drastically drops, like, 20 miles per hour. And I'm just like, I can't.
You're like, what
do you do? And you have to hurry up and get over as safely as you can. But, like, that's nothing I could do to control that situation.
Yeah, I was my old Ford Explorer, my first car. I was on the way to work, and all of a sudden, my power steering went out.
Had that happen before
too? I didn't know what to do, so I just
you gotta leverage it.
I had like 3 turns I had to make. Thankfully, like because we live in a small town, it wasn't like oh, there's all this traffic. I mean, there was still some morning traffic, but I was able to make it. And then I was like, God, that was hard.
There was one time I was driving this. Oh my God. I've had all of my cars have been hella old.
How many have you had? 2?
4? 4 technically.
Oh.
So I had my first car, which was a Jeep Grand Cherokee, which I loved that car. It was a piece of crap. It was older than I was when I got it.
Mm-hmm.
It had like cigarette burns in the like
good old 90s.
In the seat. It was this ugly green gray tan color. It was very nondescript. Her name was Olive. And I love that car. Like I just loved it, even though it was a piece of crap and the transmission went out and it was very hard to drive. And then after that, my brother at the time had a car that was a Honda. I feel like it was a Civic. But it was also very, very old. And a piece of crap too. And we shared that car for a little bit. And then I had my Altima where all the door handles would snap off. So I don't know if you're familiar. So Nissan Altimas have a habit of this or at least there was a couple years where the way the door handles were designed, they aren't like, you don't like pull them out. You don't grab them like this and pull them. It's not like my current SUV where it's like a pretty sturdy plastic. This is like a thin plastic that it's a very tiny handle that you kind of have to pull up, but like they snap off so easy. And so like all of my door handles had snapped off except the driver's side. And then at one point the driver's side snapped off too. And I was like, what the hell? And then I have my current car now. But when I was driving the Honda Civic, I was actually on the way to our friend Lauren's house. And I literally just got off exit 22. And I think the battery went out on it or something to where like my power steering completely went out and like there was no acceleration. But fortunately, that exit, you don't have to stop to turn right. It's like you just kind of merge into that lane.
Hopefully.
Yeah. And so I was able to just coast in and like really turn the wheel into the Shell gas station. I think it's a Shell. But I was able to turn to that gas station right there. And then I called my mom. I was like, Mom, come help.
Help me.
But yeah, that was fun. Car issues
Are the worst.
stress me out. Like
Mm-hmm.
more than almost anything.
Mhm.
And part of it is because I've just had so many issues with my cars just suddenly randomly not working, whether it's battery, starter, alternator, anything like that. And I'm just like, it's to the point where when I do buy a new car, because again, I've never had a new car. My current car is 20 years old.
Yeah.
And my mom bought it brand new, and I bought it from her when she was ready to upgrade her car a couple years ago. But when I do buy a new car, it's going to be almost like brand new.
No, don't do almost. Because here's the thing. I've never had a new car either. My first car, I loved my first car too. It was a Ford Explorer. And I just loved it. And it was actually a really well kept Ford Explorer. But I mean, it was like a 2002 Ford Explorer. I loved it. But then it was leaking oil. And then I wanted to upgrade a few years later to my Hyundai Tucson, which I loved my Hyundai Tucson. And then I had that for a few years, and then it started to knock, and then everyone's like, get out now. And so before it blows up. And I was like, okay. So then now I'm in my
Isn't
Honda.
that a Jordan Peele movie? Get out.
Get out, yeah. I'm in my Honda HRV. I hate this car. It gets me places. I'm thankful for that. I hate this car. But it's way smaller than any car I've ever had. Even though it looks like it'd be bigger, it's not. I've had just dumb issues with it because I've had issues with my Ford and even my Hyundai, like battery, alternator, power steering, water pump, whatever.
Your your brake light, your water, the leak in your brake light is the funniest one to me because it's so dumb.
So when I bought this car, like I won't go into all the horrible details, but basically when I was buying it, I needed to get in a car because pretty much with my other car, it could just like explode. If you know what the term knocking is, it just means there's probably something knocking in I believe it would be the transmission. And when you have a transmission problem, you're fucked. You'd have to buy a brand new transmission because if by the time you hire someone to do work on your transmission, you could have just bought a new transmission. Engine issues, and it's easier to fix an engine.
Mm-hmm.
A transmission, no. You're fucked.
My Jeep was a transmission issue, and I literally drove it until the transmission blew up.
Yeah.
While I was in the car. And that was fun. That was real scary.
So I had to get in this car. And then the day I bought it, it was raining and it was dark. So they walk you around the car. They do the whole thing. And you know you're getting fucked. Like you just, every time you buy a car, you just feel yourself getting ass raped the entire time. Like you just know it.
Jesus.
You're just like, I know I'm getting fucked. I'm not getting fucked. I'm getting raped. So I was like, okay, whatever, it's fine. I get in the car and it smells like cleaning chemicals, but like not like in a good way. And I was like, this still kind of smells bad. So my salesman got it cleaned again, and then whatever, I left. I get home. The rain had stopped, and it was in the summer. So when the rain finally stopped, it was kind of lighter outside again. There's fucking rain in my tail light. There's water in it, like filled completely. And if you opened it, it would drip on you, like through the hat, like the trunk hatch thingy. What the fuck? That was a whole thing, and that was just horrible. And then
it's like a sad comedy where it's like one thing wrong after another happens, and it's like it's like actually kind of funny if you think about like how much worse could your luck get that you're trying to buy a new car and then it's raining and miserable and you're just getting screwed over and you end up settling for this thing you don't even really want. And then you get home and you're like, okay, well, it's not that bad. It just kind of smells weird. And then you open the hatchback and then it's just like dripping rain out of your taillight.
And then it turns out it was smoked in. So that was really hard because I have asthma. And the whole smoke thing actually fucked with me for a long time. Then it had the thing where I couldn't make it like defrost.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't change the air setting. And so they worked on that 5 or 6 times. And the reason I'm telling you to never buy a used car, here's a PSA to everybody. If you can get a new car, get a new car, because lemon laws do not apply to used vehicles, which means if you have a warranty issue on your car and the dealership or whatever, they fix it, but it doesn't get fixed within a few numbers, they have to give you a new car. Or they have to like buy your car back with a new car, not with a used car. So even if you buy your warranty like I did, they have to fix it. But that's it. And they would just fix it over and over and over and over and over again. They fixed that issue 6 times. It is now fixed. But
the fact that it took that many times.
It took that many times. The general manager was mean to me.
And you have to take it back to the dealership to get worked on. Otherwise, it voids out your warranty if you take it anywhere else, which is really shitty because let me tell you something. I have a mechanic that I use that is very reasonably priced, and he has never fucked me over. Like, he always identifies what the issue is. It gets fixed within a day or two, and like, I don't feel like I'm getting screwed.
Yeah. And then the only good thing was finally all of a sudden I had car issues, like a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months ago. It was my transmission, and I was like, I'm fucked. I'm still making car payments on this. I can't afford to get anything else. And I thought I had already driven my warranty because it's only for like X amount of miles whenever you purchase a warranty like that on a used car. I had 9,000 miles left on my warranty, and I got a brand new transmission. It was the first stroke of luck I ever had. And the dealership did actually end up replacing the taillight after I quite literally threw the biggest fit on the planet. A Karen. I don't, at that point, I was definitely not a Karen.
No.
I was like, no.
Have we talked about this? Where I feel like we have. Where people have taken the like expression, like you're being such a Karen, and they're now like misappropriating it. Or
I don't know that we have, but basically at this point, you can't even complain.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of like I read, somebody started a thread about it on Twitter, and I found it actually really interesting, where they said the phrase Karen was originally used to apply to a specific type of person who would go above and beyond to like complain about something and to be mean about it in such a way that they're really just trying to get something free or some like money taken off whatever they purchased, or it's always, I want to talk to the manager.
I want to speak to your manager.
And but it's over something that's not really that big of a deal, and it's like, could you just like not be a total bitch?
Yeah, like, could you not?
And so it's taken that, and then now it's applying it to literally anybody who complains about anything.
Yeah.
Even though you have a right to complain about stuff. If you pay money for something and it's not correct, you have a right to be like, hey, our contract was not fulfilled. I paid money for this thing.
Yeah.
You didn't fulfill that service or that like good that I purchased.
Exactly.
I need you to make this right.
It's like now at this point, if my food's cooked wrong and I just want to go, hey, I asked for a medium rare steak and this is well done. But don't be such a Karen. Bitch, a well done steak is trash. That shit nasty as fuck. And I didn't pay $30 for a fucking steak for it to be a goddamn tire. So I just want my steak. And I mean, you don't have to be a dick about it. But at this point now you're just afraid to say anything because you're like, am I a Karen? No.
It's like, you know what? If I ordered a side of green beans and you gave me carrots, the Lord really wanted me to have carrots today.
Point, yeah.
I'm just going to suck it up and eat my carrots.
It depends what it is. There's some times where I'm like, I just have to say something. But I mean, it's always, I just don't, I think there's a way to go about it too. You don't have to be a cunt.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, we've both worked in like hospitality service industry. So
yeah,
we know how to bring up that something was wrong with whatever we bought or purchased or whatever, and it not be rude about it. Because most of the time, if you just say, hey, I actually ordered this and it was wrong, and could you maybe just like fix it? They're totally fine with it. Yeah. They're super nice, except McDonald's. Every time I have pulled, I don't know if it's just the McDonald's here or if it's everywhere. Anytime I pull up to a drive-through window for McDonald's, they're like, what? Literally, it's not even, hello, how are you? Welcome to McDonald's. What can I get started for you today?
What
nothing.
Why?
I'm like,
why isn't Burger King closer to me? That's just why we shouldn't go. We shouldn't go to fast food, I guess.
I don't really.
We get mentally abused, emotionally abused.
I don't do McDonald's like that anyway.
I don't either.
It's kind of meh.
Yeah. So,
but McDonald's saying that. McDonald's, if you would like to be a sponsor for our podcast, we'll love you.
I mean, hey there at least. I'm loving it. Anyway, transition into our DNA test.
Oh, yeah. So we decided to give our DNA over to the government, and now they're going to be able to frame us for any crime they want to.
I like how that is how I think too. I'm like, they're going to get me. And also now we can't commit a crime.
Yes. Because it's on file.
See, I'm double fucked because my like spit, now they have my DNA. In the state of Georgia has my fingerprints because I have my carry conceal, which you don't even need anymore to carry in Georgia. I mean, I can like go carry in other states, which is why, just so you know, if you live in Georgia, 100% you can carry. You can conceal. You do not need a license for that. However, if you wanted to take your gun to other states and not, go to fucking jail, you still get that carry conceal permit. So if you go to Florida, you're not breaking the law because you're not a citizen of Florida. So yeah, it only applies here. Don't be thinking I can carry conceal anywhere. No, you cannot. You cannot do that.
I feel like that's something I just never think about because I don't have a firearm.
Once you have one, you're like, can I have this here?
But I just would never. I don't know. I guess I've never been in a position where I'm carrying something that is or isn't allowed. Like I guess in certain places or not.
Oh my God, no! I have a story about this
because you can't have firearms literally driving onto any or walking into any government property. For the most part, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So
never.
Yeah, never. I'm like pretty sure. Any government property, including schools and the post office. You can't have it. Obviously, airports or even the grounds of an airport, like the parking lot. I don't even know if you can have it in the parking lot.
Yeah. So another place you can't have them, so I went and visited our friend Lauren over the holidays, and we went to the Mall of Georgia. And I didn't realize because I forgot that they have the metal detectors in there now. So I had Regina. That's my gun's name. And she was in my purse. And we were walking and Lauren went, stop. And I was like, what? And she's like, look. And then we both saw it and we were like,
oh shit.
We're like, oh fuck, how are we gonna? That system's fucked. You can just take the elevator. You just don't go to the escalator or you take other ways around it. You can quite literally still carry in there.
Oh, wow.
I'm not trying to tell on myself, but I did. Because I was like, I'm not going to go to the car. Was there a sign that clearly said, don't bring a firearm in here? Yeah. But you know what? A lot of places say that and they still get shot up. And I wasn't fixing to.
I mean, even
without.
if you were to go through the metal detectors, forgetting you had it on you or whatever, and they were to find it, would they confiscate it or would they just be like, you can't come in here?
Oh, they're literally not confiscating my gun.
I'm like, I don't think they can.
I'll be like, you're not doing that. I'll leave.
I think that's pretty much what it has to be.
I'm like, that gun was way too expensive for this mall employee.
Yeah.
To even girl. I'd be like, bye. Call the police. Call the police and they can escort me out of the building.
I was gonna say, I think all they can do is be like, yeah, you can't bring that in here, so you have to leave. To
go, ma'am, we have to detain you, and then the police can escort you outside. I'm like, okay. I just didn't see the sign. But anyway, yeah, it's just random places. You're like, oh shit. But it was really easy to get around, which is kind of fucked. So there was that.
Which you can't even or something that I guess would be a little more innocuous or whatever would be a pocket knife. There's a ton of people, or especially around here, that just carry especially dudes that carry just pocket knives, and they're actually super handy to have on you. But I just never think about a pocket knife is considered a weapon. So you can't bring them to amusement parks. You can't bring them to the post.
You can't have them on an airplane.
Yeah,
I got one on an airplane once by accident, total accident. It was in my purse, and it went through everything, went through TSA and everything. And then I grabbed my bag and I reached down, and I swear to God, my hand just fit perfectly around my knife, and I went, I'm the most powerful person on this fucking plane. So then I took a video, and it was one of the ones that you click and it goes. And so then I took a video with my phone. I was trying to make sure no one was watching because then I didn't want to get in trouble. But it's not my fault. They should have told me to have it. I forgot. I mean, really.
They may not have known what it was. I mean, unless it's.
I really don't know. I mean, it was clearly a knife.
Oh,
I just think
unless if it went through the X-ray and they're it looks like a vape or something.
Maybe. I don't know. But so then I took a video and I was like, tsk, tsk. And I was like, I'm the most powerful person on this plane. And I sent it to Travis.
Oh my God.
Anyway, back to the DNA tests.
So that was a wild segue. So we did 23andMe. We purchased our kits it was on Black Friday, or that weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And so it took, I want to say, about 5 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
5 to 6 weeks for our results to come in. Mine came in a couple days after yours. I think I mailed mine in a day or two after yours. So it's about right. And so our results came in. And so we're going to go over them and talk about what we are.
What we are.
Do you want to go first or you want me to go first?
I don't care. You go first.
Okay.
You go first.
But there were some things on here that really made me laugh and chuckle when I read them. Okay. I'm going to have to reposition my mic so I can
It's okay.
see this. So I do have a complaint a little bit about the 23andMe app and the website in general. And that there's so much on here that it was a little hard for me to navigate and figure out what I needed to even click on. I'm like, could you and some information was in multiple places.
Mhm.
So I'm like, did I already look at this? Like,
Yeah.
that's the only thing I really did enjoy because it just took me entirely too long to look at stuff.
Yeah. It was difficult.
So 23andMe will give you a breakdown of your ancestry, and then it also gives you like some health insights, which is the one that we chose to do. So I'm gonna pull up my ancestry right now. So, to no one's surprise, I am 95.9% European. I'm very white. How much white are you?
How white am I?
Yeah, I want to compare a little bit.
Oh,
Am I more or less white than you?
I think I'm more white than you. You're 95%
95.9.
European.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm more white than you.
Oh.
I'm 99.7% European.
That's super funny.
What the fuck else are you?
We'll get there. I cackled. So of my 95.9% European, so the breakdown of that is 79.6% Northwestern European, which is French and German.
Wait, you're how much?
79.6%, 79.6 Northwestern European.
This is so interesting. Wow. I'm really, I'm way more than you.
And then, so of that 79.6%, 67.4% is French and German, specifically, and it tells you like the regions for some of these where you come from.
You're probably French.
Yeah. So my last name is Limoges, which is a city, it's a city in France. Like Limoges, China is made from clay that is found in Limoges, France. So, but Limoges, China, like fine China, like dishes and stuff. And my mother's last name is Champagne, which is there's a region in France, like how we have states, they have regions. There's a region in France called Champagne. So and it's very French on both sides. And I'm also from just outside New Orleans. So yeah, my dad said he had done a genealogy for his side of the family, which I have not seen yet. He said he's supposed to give me a copy of it.
Yeah.
But he said basically we could trace it back to one specific ancestor that sailed over from France, and that he settled it, or he went to like basically like the French Canada area, and then you can see where all the Limoges has kind of like spawned from this one ancestor, and basically settled down in Canada, and then started migrating down the Mississippi River, so like Massachusetts all the way down to New Orleans.
Wow.
But yeah, so very cool. But so yeah, they said 67.4% French and German, but very much more French than German.
Yeah.
But my areas the regions were Brittany and Ile-de-France, which is kind of like Western France on the coast, and then kind of like North Central France, which is interesting. So I'm 67.4% French.
Wow.
Yeah. And then my the other Northwestern European is 6% British and Irish.
That's it?
Mm-hmm.
I'm 51.4% British and Irish.
Oh, geez.
And I'm 35%
We're
French and
supposed
German.
to be mortal enemies then, because Britain and France had like big beef.
Well, I'm not French. I'm German. No,
But I'm French. I'm French. You're British.
Oh, see, I guess I'm more. I keep thinking, no, I'm German. I'm like, I'm more British.
You're not that German.
I'm more British than my British boss, which we went over, and that was hysterical.
That's super funny. But yeah, it said you're 6% British and Irish, and then it narrowed it down to 10 regions. And I'm just like, that's a lot of different regions.
What region?
Greater London,
Yeah.
Glasgow City, West Yorkshire, Belfast, West Midlands, Merseyside, Greater Manchester, South Yorkshire, Norfolk, or I think it's called Norfolk. I don't know.
That's funny. Okay.
And then the rest of my Northwestern European was just broadly Northwestern European at 6.2%, which could be, they said Northwestern Europeans are represented by people as far west as Ireland, as far north as Norway, and as far east as Finland, and as far south as France. But basically, it's the countries that are border the North and Baltic Seas. So like 6.2% is just kind of broadly from that area. And then, so that was my 79.6% Northwestern European.
Yeah.
So the rest of my European DNA is made of 16% Southern European. So of that 16%, 15.8, so the majority of it, is Spanish and Portuguese. So I've got roughly, and then there's another 0.2% that's broadly Southern European. So I've got about 16% Spanish and Portuguese in me.
Cool.
Which is super interesting. And I've got 0.3% trace ancestry, which I think is like it's indigenous American. So I've got 0.3%
I do too.
Native American.
Me too.
I've got 0.1% unassigned. They don't know WTF it came from.
I don't have that.
So this is the best part, which it's not really when you think about it too much, but 3.7% Sub-Saharan African.
Shut the fuck up.
I cackled with her right there. I'm like, oh my God, I told you I had some African in me. I've always known.
What?
So if you're from Africa, why are you white?
Yeah, 3.7% Sub-Saharan African.
Wait, where is that in Africa?
So specifically, 2.4% is from Southern East Africa. So that is Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, and Tanzania. Yeah, so that's like so that 2.4% is like Congolese and Southern East African. Yeah, so it's just Southern East African. And then 1.3% is Nigerian.
What the fuck?
Yeah, so I had
You're way more interesting than me.
So I'm 95.9% white, but the other 94.1% is
94.
the other.
I was like, girl, no.
Nope,
that
that's
ain't
not
math.
math. The other 4.1% is Native American and African.
That's fine.
I'm like,
you a little spicy.
yeah, a little bit. But no. So before my DNA results had come in, I mentioned it to my dad and my grandparents, so his mom, that we were doing the DNA test, and my grandmother was like, she was saying that she's like, oh, well, yeah, there's going to be some sort of like African in you, because she's like, I remember like some like great somebody. She said that she was Creole. So basically there was some like great relative that she said she remembers like her mother talking about. So that would be my great grandmother talking about like her great grandmother or something like that, saying that, oh yeah, she was the lady that had that was Creole, basically, that had some black in her, because she said she had really like kinky coarse hair. But I guess it had been like so many generations removed that it was just a small percentage.
Does that mean that you could be one of those people that if you had a baby, it could be black?
Maybe,
because that's like happened before, where it's like two white people have a baby, but then because one person has like genes,
maybe, I don't know. It would depend on what my genes are that dictate skin color, because
I don't know how any of that works.
My DNA that is that comes from the African side, which is so bizarre for me to say, but the DNA that comes from the African side of me, there's no guarantee that DNA is, or that portion of my DNA is tied to like my skin color. So I could have other DNA for like other traits and other like parts of me that come from that side, but that aren't necessarily tied to skin color. So
wow.
Yeah. I'm like, that made me cackle when I read that. I was like, no shit, really? So yeah, apparently there's Creole, or it would be either like Creole or mulatto on my mom said apparently there's some distant relatives like way back when on her side too, which for those who don't know, Creole basically, so both sides of my family have a long history of being from like Louisiana and like the Baton Rouge and New Orleans areas. So basically it means when someone who is Creole is of Black and European typically blood, so typically it is Spanish or French. And then someone who is mulatto is something else. I forget.
I don't know. Damn, yours is way more interesting than mine. Mine is like literally so boring. This is me. I'm 99.7% European.
That's a lot.
I am 97.9% Northwestern European. So breaking that down, I'm 51.4% British and Irish. And they did break that down into the regions, which was like Greater London, Greater Manchester, Merseyside, West Midlands, Glasgow, there. French and German, which I knew because my dad's side is German. So my dad's grandma was full German. So my great grandma was German. She came over here in 1929. So I knew that. I'm 6.5% Scandinavian.
Okay.
Then it's just 5% broadly Northwestern European. Then I get to the little tiny bits. I'm 0.8%. I don't know how to say it. I'm 0.8% Jewish in the Ashkenazi.
Mm-hmm. Ashkenazi.
So 0.8% Ashkenazi.
What the hell?
Jewish.
That's super cool.
I'm 0.7% just Eastern European, then 0.3% broadly European. Then the trace ancestry, I'm 0.3% Indigenous American, which
we both are.
Yeah. Then that's interesting. So, but one thing that was super interesting to me that I saw on mine, which didn't come up here, I had to find it somewhere else because, like you said, it's kind of difficult to navigate 23andMe. But there was where is it? There's a lot of really cool. There were some cool.
There's a
like
lot of
health
information
stuff.
And health stuff, which is super interesting. But again, it is very hard to navigate the website.
But yeah, I was trying. Where is it on here? There's a thing under all ancestry reports and Neanderthal ancestry.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I got some of that too.
How much do you have?
Let me go look. Which you can share yours.
So I have 270 variants of Neanderthal ancestry. So
I have 248. So we're close.
It says I have more Neanderthal DNA than 87% of other customers who use 23andMe. Now, that being said, I have less than 2% Neanderthal DNA.
Mm-hmm.
So it's less than 2% of my DNA. But it's interesting to know that it's like we still have more DNA than 87% of other
so
people.
There were Neanderthals, Homo sapiens, and then there actually is, I was reading somewhere, I might have been on here, that there's like a third like type of human, like species of human that was closer to the Neanderthal than the Homo sapien, but still like distinct and separate from them, that there could have been some like intermingling of the genetic lines.
Did you look at any of the traits you're more likely to have?
I sure did, and that made me laugh too.
Yes, I got super offended. Travis heard me from the other room go, "You bitch!" And he was like, oh, what is it? So let me go to traits.
Yeah, and so not all these traits are going to be the same for everyone who has Neanderthal DNA because it depends on what variants that they've identified.
Yes. Dang it, where did it go? You can go
yeah,
first,
so some of my traits that may have been influenced by my Neanderthal DNA, I'll just say some of the funnier ones I thought. You have one variant associated with having difficulty discarding rarely used possessions. And I do. I have problems throwing stuff away, which I really, part of that I've always attributed to be like growing up in a like scarcity mindset of like, you never know when you're going to need something or you can always repurpose something. And I've been trying to actively like overcome that and be like, no, if you need it, you'll just buy a new one. Like, it's fine. You don't need to save this. So like,
I have that one too.
You
said rarely used possessions?
Yeah. Discarding rarely used possessions.
Same.
I have one variant associated with being less likely to have a fear of heights.
Same. But I'm very fucking terrified of heights. So not me. Terrified of them. I'm good.
You have one variant associated with being a better sprinter than distance runner.
I do too.
And I'm like, that tracks because I hate distance running. Like going for long amounts of time, I'm like dying. But if I need to sprint for like 30 seconds, like flat out, I feel like I can do that.
I feel like I could if I got in shape. But right now it's hard.
I have two. So sometimes you have like, a lot of these are like, you have one variant associated with this.
Oh, I have 3 variants, by the way, being associated with a better sprinter than a distance runner.
I only have one. And so the things that I have 2 variants associated with are, you have 2 variants associated with having more dandruff.
Rude.
And this one that made me laugh is you have 2 variants associated with having a worse sense of direction.
Goodbye.
The Neanderthal in me.
That's the problem.
Yeah. That one, I cackled at that too.
That's
funny.
Very
funny.
Those are the only ones you have?
Yeah.
Traits for?
Mm-hmm.
So I had I have one variant associated with being more likely to have an apple body shape than a pear body shape.
Okay.
I have one variant associated with being more likely to sweat during a workout, which I sweat like a pig. I could just walk outside and it's hot and I sweat like a pig. I have one variant associated with being less likely to have a chin dimple. I do not have a chin dimple, so suppose. I have one variant associated with being less likely to blush easily. And I have one variant associated with being less likely to sneeze with a full stomach, whatever the fuck that means. And so, okay, that's our Neanderthal. Now, the other traits, what I like, the health and traits overview, this shit.
I didn't have a lot of things of the things that they tested for.
I didn't either.
I didn't test positive for a lot of things.
There's more traits, though, that are funny. All traits and traits. No health and traits reports, I guess. Right? Where? No, there's one with like the traits that is so funny.
So I'm looking at the health predispositions. So I have one variant that was detected that makes it related to age-related macular degeneration, which basically means that your eyesight gets worse as you get older.
Same, slightly increased.
Mine
risk.
said not likely at increased risk. And then I have one for hereditary hemochromatosis, a variant detected, but not likely at increased risk, which that is. So hereditary hemochromatosis is a genetic condition characterized by absorption of too much dietary iron.
Yep. Mine's the same variant detected, but not likely at increased risk.
And those were the only two of that section.
Oh, I have one more.
I have one in the bottom section if it'll load. It's just taking a second.
I have the late onset Alzheimer's disease. I have a slightly increased risk. So I had one variant, which I'm not like shocked at. And then what wellness?
Yeah, this is taking forever to load.
What did you click on? No.
Just back.
Oh.
Because I had to look up what hereditary hemochromatosis was. Wellness,
while yours loads, alcohol flush reaction. I didn't have any other stuff, so now I'm just down to because there's wellness and then there's traits. So for wellness, alcohol flush reaction, unlikely to flush. Caffeine consumption, likely to consume less. That's not true. Deep sleep, more likely to be a deep sleeper.
I was less likely to be a deep sleeper.
Funny is I'm not a deep sleeper, but I think that just happens to be how I grew up. Like if something happens, I'm like, I'm up. I can just hear something and I'm awake. Genetic weight, predisposed to weigh less than average. That's a lie.
I'm predisposed to weigh slightly more than average, but like it's like 6%. I'm like, so.
Lactose intolerance, I'm likely tolerant. Muscle composition, uncommon in elite power athletes. So basically, I don't have like the muscle compositions that most like elite athletes have. Saturated fat and weight, likely to weigh more on a high saturated fat diet, which is probably my current issue. Sleep movement, likely more than average movement.
So my thing finally loaded. So the only other thing that so they have the carrier status. So if you are a carrier for something, that means you could pass that illness or whatever, that you could pass it on to your children. And if you have children with somebody who also carries that thing, then there's like, I think a 25 or 50% chance that your kid could get that disease, or whatever it is. So the one thing of the things they tested for that I am a carrier of, it's called maple syrup urine disease type 1B.
What's that? I didn't have any. I'm not like, I wasn't a carrier of any of it.
All the things okay. So it is a rare genetic disorder. It's characterized by poor growth and feeding, slowed mental and physical processes, and urine with a distinct sweet odor. A person must have two variants in the BCK-DHB gene in order to have this condition. So basically there's no cure for it. And it says symptoms typically develop during infancy or childhood. There's no known cure. Strict diet management, and in some cases, liver transplantation may reduce symptoms and slow or stop disease progression. I was like, okay, that's fun.
Yeah, I wasn't a carrier of anything.
So my wellness traits, Yeah. My muscle composition, it said I have my muscle composition is common in elite power athletes.
Oh, we're opposites there.
So I guess there's a protein that's involved in building muscles, I think, that is often found in elite athletes, and I have the same sort of protein, but I would never know because I don't work out like that. And sleep movement, likely average or less movement. I don't think I actually move that much in my sleep because I often wake up like stiff because I've been in the same position for so long, or like my face has like creases because I've just been in the pillow.
Yeah.
So the traits.
Oh yeah.
My
my first one made me happy.
What is it?
Ability to match a musical pitch. I'm more likely to be able to match a musical pitch.
I am as well. I'm trying to just see which ones are like funny or interesting.
Oh, there's a few here that really offended me. Dandruff, more likely to get dandruff. Earwax type, likely wet earwax.
Well, that's pretty common for people who aren't of Asian descent. I was looking into it, and your earwax can be either wet or dry, and people who are of Asian descent typically tend to have like dry earwax.
And it's funny because some of these traits contradict the Neanderthal traits.
Mm-hmm.
Because my eye color, I'm likely brown or hazel eyes, which
Same.
Fear of heights, more likely than average to be afraid of heights. I am terrified of heights. I'm not about it.
I'm not afraid of heights. I'm afraid of open spaces. So like I could be in a plane or on a tall building on a balcony. I'm fine. However, if I'm like free falling through the sky or like floating in open water and no land in sight, I will freak the fuck out.
Oh, mosquito bite frequency. I am more likely to experience. I probably get bit more than the average person.
Yes, I am as well. Likely bitten more often than others. And because of my Neanderthal DNA, I am more likely to have itchier mosquito bites. More likely to experience motion sickness.
Me as well. Likely no red hair.
Yep.
More likely to have stretch marks.
Yes.
Likely prefers salty versus sweet, which I would think that's true. I prefer that. No, this is the one. I was in the room. This is the one I saw. And I went, you fucking cunt. Unibrow. Likely to at least a little unibrow.
Mine's likely no unibrow.
Yeah, mine's like, you probably got a little unibrow. And I did. You fucking bitch. Likely no widow's peak. Vegeta, if he did this, that gene would be 100% widow's peak.
My wake up time, it says likely to wake up around 8:30 a.m. And I'm like, incorrect.
Mine says 8:41 a.m.
That's really specific.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess like my natural wake up time, if there's no alarm set right now, is probably like 7:30.
Yeah.
But like I actually wake up usually around like 6, or I try to wake up around 6.
Oh.
Sometimes it's a losing battle. But yeah, those were kind of the interesting stuff.
I want to do the ancestry one to compare them.
Mm-hmm.
So I need that to go on sale.
But what was it? Was there anything else on here? Was that it?
I think that's the stuff that's like just you kind of look at.
Oh, the haplogroup, the maternal haplogroup.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to see what's yours. So for those who don't know, your maternal there's something called a maternal or a paternal haplogroup. So if you were born with XX chromosomes, you have a maternal haplogroup. And if you were born with XY chromosomes, you have a paternal haplogroup, which basically means there's a specific portion of your DNA inside the mitochondria of your cells that can be traced back. They can actually trace the variations of that DNA over like thousands of years. And that you're actually, so they say that all women living today can actually be traced back to one common ancestor that was in like some portion of Africa, I think. And that as that woman's female descendants, because it can only be passed to people born with an XX chromosome, as her female descendants then moved across and migrated and, produced offspring and stuff, there were slight variations in that mitochondrial DNA. And so they can track and pinpoint more or less the areas in which there were like branches basically of that family tree, more like, so to speak. So they tell you in here what haplogroup you're a part of, because basically, and the way they phrase it is really cool because they explain like you're part of a long line of women, like, so because it can only be passed from mother to daughter. that so many women had to be born and live and survive and produce offspring in order for you to be here now today. And I'm like, that's mind blowing. So which group are you part of?
I am H2A2. What are you?
You're H2A2?
Mm-hmm.
I am H11A. So H11A. Yeah, so my line, because it shows the migrations of your maternal line, my line started with haplogroup L 180,000 years ago. And then then the branches, following the branches of my haplogroups, it was L, then L3, then N, then R, then H, then H11A. And H11A can be tracked back to about 6,000 years ago.
So mine with H2A2 was L, then L3, then N, then R, then H, then H2A, and then H2A2, which can be traced back to about 9,000 years ago.
Oh, wow. So we, as about 18,000 years ago, had a common ancestor.
It's wild.
Or maybe not a common ancestor, but people of the same branch.
Yeah.
So about 18,000 years ago. But yeah, so now we know a whole lot more about ourselves, which honestly, this is super cool to do. And I'm glad we did it and spent the money on it because it's just super interesting. But it doesn't really do anything for you in terms of it's nice to know, but there's nothing really that I can take from that other than some of the health stuff. It's nice to know. But I didn't really have a lot on there that was you're going to die or anything. So
mine was basically you might get Alzheimer's, but you might not. And I was like, okay.
But yeah, we now know that we're both 0.3% Indigenous American and I am 3.7% African.
Which that's blowing my mind.
Mine too.
That has actually just mind fucked me.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
I'm I want to look more into that to see how you can, if you can trace it back to a specific time or because I think it actually says on here how many generations removed certain parts of your lineage are. So it could be you probably had an ancestor between 5 and 8 generations ago that had this DNA.
Oh yeah, it showed you that on there. Yeah, because I saw that too about because I was looking up the Jewish ancestor and the Native American ancestor, and I was like, oh, interesting. But we'll
wrap it up here.
That is it. I'm stopping this for this song.
No, it's gonna. You know what? Let it do its thing.
I still have to move it. I still have to click it off.
Okay, guys, we're gonna end it here.
Yes.
You're gonna enjoy our little alarm song with us here.
See, you're all I'm just I can't. It's cold. I'm tired. Ow. None. Goodbye. And oh shit. Oh,
where do I put it?
Turn off, you bitch. Oh, okay. My bad. But yeah, so that is it. So now you get to know all about us. You know what, Elliot, you were wrong. Anna's not white. Remember, he said we were going to be 110% white. I am
95.9%.
Yeah. But yeah, so that is it. So. How
many times are we going to say, so that's it? That's it.
That's
We're done.
Bye. So that's it. Bye.
Don't forget to subscribe, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Is that all of them? At Waypod, WAYYPOD.
And hit the subscribe button. And you said subscribe, didn't you?
Yes, I sure did.
I meant to say the notification bell.
Yeah. Try that again. And hit the
It's too late now.
bell. No, it's not.
The wide shot. Don't forget to hit the notification bell hit it on all of said platforms. And if you're an audio listener, you can pretty much listen to us on any audio platform you could think of. We're pretty much everywhere.
But if you're not watching us on YouTube, then I don't really know what you're doing with your life.
Yeah. I mean, don't you want to see this train wreck?
We haven't forgotten about our 100 subscriber giveaway. We just haven't had time to work on it. We've had a lot of life events going on.
It's too much.
So we are still going to do that at some point, but we will let y'all know. Follow us make sure you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, because we will update there.
Yeah. Anna will.
I will update there when it's time to get on that.
Because I'll be like, how do we
do that?
I don't understand.
So yeah, we'll be here next week.
Yes.
I think. Yeah.
Hopefully.
Sure.
We'll see what happens.
Maybe.
Oh well.
Bye.